Sup, bitches?
Hello, hello.
Welcome back to the Sassy Spiritual Bitches podcast.
Oh, that was zesty.
Zesty.
That was zesty.
Yes. I like it. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yeah, I feel it's like a weird new sense of calm that I haven't had in a very ever probably.
Ooh, ever.
So we were just discussing before the podcast, like, what should we talk about? And I'm kind of like, it doesn't matter. We could talk about anything. I don't have anything important to say, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like chill and like very observant, like just observing the world pass me by. And I'm like, oh, yes, very nice.
Yeah,
like,
very nice. Very nice. Very
so
nice.
I feel just chill.
Yeah,
How about
me
you?
too. I feel super calm. Calmer than I probably feel like I should be. But I'm just so like, yeah, just chill. So I don't know. We're recording this on the day of the full moon. So I don't know if it's like the equinox tomorrow or if it's the full moon tonight or if it's a combo or if it's nothing to do with that. Fuck, I don't know.
It could definitely be the full moon. It's the full moon in Pisces, which is so like dreamy and mystical.
Yeah, and like life is okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's two sides to that coin. It's like, life is so good. And then it's like, why?
Totally.
It's like straight emo.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling the calm dreaminess today.
Yeah, me too.
Everything's I don't know. The word that comes to mind when I think of how today's been going is it feels very surreal.
Yes.
And I don't know why.
Isn't that crazy? Like to think like before our awakenings and things like that, you know, this was like reality. You know what I mean? Like being alive and conscious and awake was reality, and like the dream state and the meditation state was like the dream state. I really feel like the coin has flipped in my life.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like meditation and like being in dream states or sleeping is like that to me. I'm like, oh, this is where I get the good stuff and I figure out what I'm doing. And then I have to come and like be awake and I'm like, fuck, what's going on down here? Like
dealing with the 3D world, and I'm like,
it does feel surreal.
Wow. I'm just very, I don't know. I don't even know. I can't even. Oh my God. How basic bitch was I just now?
I can't even.
Oh
my God, it's okay. Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't have any like sweet updates. It's been busy catching up, working.
Yeah.
Putting new flooring in my house.
Whoop,
my God.
That's so exciting.
It is really exciting.
But such a pain in the ass at the same time.
Oh, fuck, I know. It's not going to be fun, but I feel like because I just like went ahead and bought it and I was like, I'm just going to buy the flooring, and Graham was like, no. But now that it's in our house, he's like, I'm excited. And I'm like, thank God, because I really didn't want to have to like be pulling teeth because he's a carpenter. So I really need his help.
Yeah, poor kid.
He's good.
It's like, I know you worked all day, but how about coming home to work for a bit?
Yes, but I feel like we can get it done in like 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
We'll rip the carpet and stuff out this weekend, and then we'll paint midweek, and then by the weekend, you should be able to install the flooring. So
sweet.
It's not that long time in the grand scale of things.
No.
But hopefully there's no hiccups, because you know how you can hit like a bump in the road and then it turns into like a month project, and you're like, fuck.
Nah.
Still small in the scale of things.
Indeed.
But it'll be nice. Our house needs it. Who wants carpet everywhere?
Ugh, not me. Mm-hmm. I have one room with carpet. That's it.
Nice. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Slow going, but eventually it all went.
Just like it.
But I like throw rugs, though. Mm-hmm. You know? Bath mats, the bathroom.
Yes. We actually did buy a area rug too for the living room. We have one in there, and it's just, I don't know, we have a dog and she's fuzzy as fuck. So we just are like, let's just get rid of all this shit and start over. So got a new throw rug coming, which is exciting because every time I swear to God, like every time you update your house or you update your wardrobe or you get new hairdo or whatever, I swear it's very symbolic of you shifting into a different way of being, like a different timeline.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what is the odds of us getting our house finally doing some renos and updates that's coincidentally locked and loaded in with the fall equinox. Like, I feel like we're just like shifting our house or shifting our existence into a new timeline. And I'm like, fucking bring it on.
Oh, yeah. Keith just sold his truck and we're just...
Did he?
Oh, yeah. We're just getting rid of shit. Like, we're just... Yeah, he sold it last week.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I'm just like purging shit like nobody's business.
Yeah, it's very symbolic. And I just... Because we live in like the Matrix or whatever, and because we're very like logical, we have to see everything change. That yes, some of the times when we morph timelines, there is like the actual act of like pulling out your flooring and putting new flooring. But in the energy world, you've actually totally flipped into a new timeline. But for your brain to understand, there's like those little bits and pieces in the middle.
Yeah.
Like Dolores Cannon, if anyone follows her, she's like my little go-to guru. She talks about how the collective conscious manifests everything. So like, let's say the hockey arena in your town would never have come into existence until suddenly the people in the town were like, I'd like to go see some hockey. And then all of a sudden it's like, it moves, or they, you know, and you can see how the media encourages us to manifest certain things.
Yeah.
But like the clue has to be dropped and people have to consent, like to, yeah, we want that. And then they start building the arena, and like, we have to watch it go up for it to make sense. But according to time, it's actually that you shifted timeline, and like the building of it didn't really happen. It's just like a false memory kind of thing.
Weird.
Isn't it weird? Like, I can't understand it because our little human brains can't comprehend it. But I know like physics is a mind fuck. I used to study physics a little bit, but I can't comprehend enough to share with anyone.
I dropped physics.
Fuck.
I was like in it going, if I continue this class, I will 100% fail it, and I don't want to fail on my report card, so I'm just going to drop it.
So funny. My first physics class, I passed with a 51 because I had no fucking idea what was going on. We like chart this graph, and I didn't know how to graph it. I would just like draw how I looked in the textbook, but I didn't know what I was plotting. It was so bad. And then I was actually in university. I took an intro to physics class in university, I think, and it was like still a mind fuck. But I was like, I need to learn this. So my brother actually is kind of into physics, and he sent me lots of good videos and links and stuff. And then I had a person who's like, good physics books to read. So I have a couple physics books kicking around, but fuck, it's hard to understand.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I almost feel like quantum physics is almost easier for me to understand than regular physics.
Yeah, I'm talking kind of, that's what I ended up getting into, was quantum physics.
Yeah. Like, I was actually in a reading one time I had done. Where was this? I don't even remember. Was it when I was in Australia, maybe? I got asked if I was into quantum physics. And at that point, I was like, well, I kind of know about it, but no. And they were like, you have a knack for quantum physics.
Oh, shit.
And I fucking laughed my ass off because, like I said, I had to drop regular physics. I'm like, yeah, because I get quantum physics. Fuck off. You know, like,
yeah, it is like...
But they told me to look into astrology and quantum physics because I have a knack to put them together.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, yeah, all right then. But now I'm like, oh yeah, kind of, you know.
Yeah, it's like if you study quantum physics and you're kind of in the spiritual world, it sort of makes sense, but fuck, people got to really slow it down for me. I'm like, pardon moi, speak again. But now it's easier because I kind of get it. But also it's like, I just want to get to the gems. I don't want to start at kindergarten. I just want to get to the gems that make sense to me. I hate like going through all the minutia trying to find the gems, but that's how it is.
Yeah. Like so many of quantum physics, it's like, well, this is a theory because we can't prove it yet. And I'm like, well, you don't have to because that's just how it is. Yes. You know, I'm like, no, that is correct. And I'm just like, I know that's correct. They're like, we can't prove it mathematically. I'm like, because math is limiting. You know, I'm just like thinking in my head, and I'm like, I understand that they have to, for the human consciousness, like prove it or whatever.
You know what's crazy though? I was actually just thinking about this the other day, and it's funny that we've circled around full here because I was like, I feel like I need to say this to someone, but I don't know who to say it to. And here it is, just naturally coming out. So I remember thinking, with all the misinformation that's existing out in the world right now, and some people are just like holding such a dire allegiance to things like, and I'm talking about anything, like one side of the spectrum, the other side of the spectrum. And one of the things I learned in university like, and maybe I was just blessed or lucky to go to a university that was like this, is like everything is a theory. Almost nothing is there actually proof it consistently happens that way. There's always like the exception to the rule. And I remember studying like sociology and psychology, and the first thing my psychology teacher said was like, we don't really know anything about anything, we're just theorizing here. And I dropped out of psychology after that because I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was just like, are you guys serious? Like, nobody knows anything. And I think the only thing that university taught me was to question everything and follow the money behind the study. And like, I don't get how people don't see that. Like, you should never believe anything you're told, and it doesn't fucking matter who it comes from. Like, follow the money behind everything. So even studies that are like empirical data or studies that you get, who funded that? Because they, like, if they put $1 million into this funding, they're expecting a particular result, or they're just going to find a different company to give $1 million to.
That's why you also look at who peer reviewed it and who funded that.
Exactly.
You know,
and it's just like, why are people not doing that? And it doesn't matter what you're looking at, but you should always be questioning what's the incentive behind putting this forward, because I'm fucking telling you, everyone has an agenda. Like, there's very few people that can fund their own study based on their particular interests. So it's just, I don't know. You got to pay attention out there, man. Nothing is empirical. Nothing.
No. And really, nothing can really be proven 100%.
Exactly. And it's just like, and I even also, and it's not anyone's fault, but sometimes it's like people hear a theory or whatever, and they're like, well, why would someone do that? Or what would the incentive be to that? Why would they want to ruin humanity? Or why would they want to lie in that study? And it's like, you just, like, I did skate through school with taking very little history classes. But in university, we dived a lot into history. And it's like, there are so many shitty things that people consistently do, and the science always changes and the motives always change. And it's just like, holy fuck, people, like, just think for yourself. God damn it.
Yeah, I know. Do your own research.
And you know what? You may never land on something that you can believe 110%, but if you're fucking questioning things and trying to get through it, you're doing enough. Like, Karma and Earth School, it's a school.
I love it. It's Earth School.
It is Earth School. You come here to, like, it's literally like kindergarten to grade 12, and it's all about clearing your karma and unleashing your gifts and stepping into your greatness. Some of us are in kindergarten, some of us are in university, some of us are in between. But like, one of the key factors about being in school is studying. You have to dive a little deeper, ask questions, figure out, does this feel right to me? Use your intuition, feel into things. You can't get to college if you don't study.
It's true.
And it's just like,
well, I don't know. Everyone gets passed nowadays, don't they?
Yeah, well, maybe real life isn't a good example anymore. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just, to me, mind-boggling that people don't have that curiosity.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't know.
Yeah, some people, it just never occurs to them.
Yeah. And would you say, in your opinion, I have a question for you.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah, ooh, on the spot.
I feel
nervous. Like, I think a lot of people right now are trying to awaken into their gifts and find their purpose and like step into things that actually fill them up. But in doing that, there's no way to bypass the exploratory phase. You have to figure this part out.
It's true.
So what did your like exploration or curiosity start with? Like, how did you like get to where you are now? In like a research or curiosity stance? I know, such a loaded question. And it's like, you were kind of like, you knew you were gifted since you were born. So like,
well, I mean, I didn't know, but I knew. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I just thought everyone did this.
Right.
Okay, you know, yes, like yes. What do you mean? You don't talk to your guides all the time? Like, that's not a thing?
Right.
Like, oh, people just don't know things? Oh. You know, I didn't realize that was taboo. But I mean,
or like, how did you decide to take your first Reiki course or your first?
It was just, I don't know. I was interested in it. And okay, so when I took Reiki, I didn't even really know what it was, really. I just was like hearing it in my head.
Oh, cool.
You know, like I think I'd heard my mom maybe talk about it before, but I didn't really know what it was. And it was like, yeah, do that. Like, and so I was like, oh, well, I have, my tax return. I guess I'll do that because it's something I can do on the side. Right. And I was very money driven, right? It can get me more money.
Right.
It can get me more money. Always. That is what I've been taught. Money drives everything.
Right.
So that's why it was to make a side coin. And it was something that I didn't have to really go to school for.
Right.
You know? So that's sort of how I fell into that. But
was that the first thing that you studied, or was there other things? Or like, how did you buy your first set of tarot? Like, where did that come from?
I bought my first, like, I've always kind of been interested in it. And I think my mom bought me one when I was like 15.
Nice.
And like, I didn't really bond with the deck. I wanted to, but I was always too busy.
Right.
That's the other thing. Like, I've always been really, really busy with school, plays, dance, teaching dance, all of those things, right? So I was like, I never had time, but I just like would have it. And then I went one time with my boyfriend. We went to Regina for a weekend for our 1-year anniversary. And I was like, I don't know. What would I have been then? 19? 18? 19. 18. Somewhere in there.
Right.
Whatever. And we went to this one shop and there was this dragon tarot.
Ooh.
And I just thought it was cool. And then like I would try to read it, you know, and play around with it. And like I've been fucking around with it ever since. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've just...
But that's still curiosity, right? Yeah. And it's like people are like, oh, I don't know about the tarot. And it's like, just whip it up on Google. Like, just, I don't know. It's like there's this curiosity. Back in the day... Oh, yeah, there's no such thing as
There
Google.
was no such thing.
It's true.
Like, I tried to learn, like, my witchy stuff online. Like, I couldn't even track the moon cycles.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I had this book to, like, learn things, and I couldn't even track the moon cycles because you couldn't just pull it up, right?
And so it's like the information is just at our fingertips right now. So I am consistently baffled why people don't just like try to see the other side of the coin, whatever the other coin is. Because if people are over here in the right field, then the opposite side of the coin is people in the left field, or vice versa. It's like both parties need to be trying to see the perspective of others. Like,
oh yeah, it's interesting. I actually like doing that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And I feel like that's what we're supposed to do because it breeds this level of understanding, and then we're not fighting each other, which is like the goal. Is we can have different perspectives and opinions, but we shouldn't be at each other's throat all the fucking time.
No, it should be a unity thing.
Yeah. And like respect. And we don't have any of that going on in society right now. And it has never been more fucking apparent to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, my curiosity, I remember being super young and like you get to high school or in your whole life, everyone is like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Right? Who cares?
Exactly. And people would be like, oh, you got to get good money or make good money or whatever. And then you're like, well, everything that makes me good money is like a lot of school. I've seen people that were doctors and lawyers and all these fancy people that had lots of money. And they lived in these big, elaborate 3-car garages, and they only had 1 or 2 kids. And I remember like noticing at a very young age that like nobody was happy.
Mm-hmm.
So my curiosity started is like, well, why are we... Literally, I was so young, and I used to say this at least in like grade 7 to like and up. It's like, I just don't want to spend my life trying to get this 3-car garage and like selling my soul in the process. I said that from a really long time. Like, they're not happy. Why do they have this? Why do you need this? It's not filling your soul up at all, or like your heart up. I wouldn't have said soul because I wouldn't have had that awareness, but it doesn't fill up your cup. And like, you just work long hours and you fight with your spouse and you hate your kids. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I was always wondering, why are people encouraged to constantly do things they're not happy about? And then, of course, that leads you down this line. Okay, well, like, who says you have to do that? And what is their investment in it to tell you that? And then it's like, it led me to a lot of places that never made any sense, like the Illuminati and, and like that doesn't really make sense until you get past it. Yeah. Right. And then you can circle back around to it. But it's like the Illuminati or the Freemasons because those are those little secret societies.
Do you know what's funny?
Yeah, what?
Like, I don't like that. I was not like that. I was, you put your nose to the grindstone, you work hard, and you do what you're fucking told. Yeah. Like, always. My dad's a Freemason. I've been to their lodges in the red room, in the blue room, and all these things, and they have these cool chairs and these gavels, and I, like, to this day, never understood. And, like, they have memorizations to do and things, right? And, like, if I looked at that book, I'd get in such shit. It's like this little, tiny little book,
What the
fuck? They have to, and
That's
I'm
crazy.
like, and then my mom was the Eastern Star for a while.
What's that?
It's kind of like the women's version.
Wow.
And my sister was put into Job's Daughters, which is like for the young girls.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Anytime I see the Freemason symbol, I'm just like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
But I'm just like, I never had that because I never really understood, even though I was in, like, right. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And I think it's only until you get like a 33rd degree and up where it's, but my dad, I think, is a 32nd.
Oh, shit.
Like, we call him the Grand Poobah, like, a few times,
Oh, that's cool.
So, but now I've kind of got this, I remember asking him about it once, and he told me to just basically mind my own business and never mind.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I know. So, yeah, I got led down to all these paths, and then, like, they didn't really they don't make a sense, right? Like, if you don't need to get farther before you can see what that is. So I just kept going and going and going because I couldn't make sense of it. And then honestly, getting to university was even more fucking mind-blowing. They would give you statistics on how unhappy people were, and they would give you actual data on, like, societal control and all these things. And I remember being like, I felt like I was the only kid in class that was like, can anyone else hear this right now? Because people are just like, that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm. I was one of those kids. That's just how it is. Whatever.
I just remember being like, what the actual fuck is going on? Mm-hmm. And I chose, like, if anyone wants to know what I studied in university, I said from an early age, I don't want to spend my life, and it's funny how it's flipped. This is my karma. It's partly bad karma, so don't listen to me. I was just like, I don't want to spend my whole life trying to get rich just to be unhappy. I want to do something that helps other people. And I'm still doing that. I found a new way, but I was, like, very self-sacrificing at the time. So I studied disaster and emergency management, wanting to work for the Red Cross overseas, or, like, disaster deployments and stuff. So I did work for the Red Cross for a little while. I did some deployments in Canada, did some evacuations and stuff. But then I just remember being like, I don't know, if you ever worked for a nonprofit, and if you're like, yeah, I'm not going to talk shit about the Red Cross. I'm sure they do great work, but, like, yeah, nonprofits are not the place to make a difference. They're very unorganized.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So I guess another interesting thing, it's like, so I ended up, like, through my conspiracy efforts, like, really creating this interesting place for myself that was, like, not safe to talk about, right? I had all these, like, weird theories and things, and it's like, I didn't really believe anything until I was probably 27, and I'd probably been reading this stuff since I was, like, 15. Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of information, but not a lot of conviction in it because I couldn't prove to myself that it was real or not real. I was just looking at it to see if I could ever make sense of it. So then I took this class, and all of a sudden it all clicked into place, right? I got to learn about the positive and negative souls, which I've talked about a million times, a couple episodes ago. Check it out. And then suddenly I was convicted. I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. And then I was faced with this option of, like, hiding what I knew and staying in the shadows and not, like, stepping into my gifts or stepping into what I'm supposed to be doing or advocating for these things. And it's like, then you're faced with the second challenge of, like, how are you going to really show up when you can't teach someone 15 to 20 years of information and have them believe what you believe. So how do you step into it? I don't even know, like, how did you, I guess we've talked about it for you too, but like, how did you really just decide you were going to step into it, or like deal with your shadows, or like put your gifts out there?
Oh, I was forced.
Right.
Like my hand was forced. This is why I had a severe breakdown.
Right.
Because I never, like, I was fucking miserable. Keith kept telling me that my job was killing me, you know, and there was like, I was, without so many words, he basically told me I was fucking crazy. And I'm like, no. Like, I've got a pension, I've got it, you know, blah, blah, blah. Right. I would have died there.
That's crazy.
So meanwhile, they're like, this can't continue. So they like literally broke my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you want to hide in, I was just thinking that this morning, that like, if you want to hide in the shadows or put yourself like that, especially when you like yourself, like knew from a long time, like I don't say knew, but it wasn't like, for me, I would have never considered myself special. And I mean, not like everyone's kind of special. So then therein, no one's really that special because everyone has these amazing gifts. But I would have never pegged myself for someone who could have ever turned this world, like in my world, into what it is now.
Oh, me neither.
But at some point, you just have to like trudge through it. And like, I've been saying this to my clients lately, karma and the universe doesn't really give a fuck if you don't believe you're good enough or you don't believe you can do it. Karma cares if you show up anyway. That was the action that you decided to put forward. It doesn't care what the underlying thought process is. It cares that you showed up anyway. You built it anyway. You told your story anyway, even if your voice was shaking, like that saying. And it's like, at some point, you just got to do it anyway. And then you cycle back that karma based on your decision, not your belief. And the reason that I believe our beliefs are so important is they drive our actions. But at the end of the day, it's our fucking actions that matter. And then you undo your belief system by realizing it was all bullshit anyway. Because you like show up and you prove to yourself it wasn't true. Like, that's how I pushed through so much.
I had to restructure everything.
Like how?
I had to change my beliefs. Like, I didn't just push through. It's like, I need a reason. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of those people that it's like, if you don't give me a good enough reason, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
So even as a kid, my mom would talk about this all the time. Like, like first she'd have this plant and I'd go dig in the plant and I'd dig up the dirt and I'd play in it and she'd pull me away, slap my ass and say, don't do that. Well, you didn't give me a reason not to.
Right.
So I don't know how many smacks on the ass I got, because that's what you did in the 80s. Don't call social services, you know, but it was like, you know, it wasn't good enough for me. Then she logicked things with me. And she's like, okay, here's why we don't want the plant to die, blah, 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 you know? And then as soon as I had a reason that made sense to me, I'm like, oh, then I won't do that.
That's true. I do need to, it's like, that makes sense to me too. Because if someone's like, you have to do this, like, well, why? Or like something I hate, and like, I'm no hate to anyone out there, but I fucking hate when people get married and there's like the bridal shower, then the bachelorette party, then you have to show up for the wedding, and then there's the gift opening. Like, what the fuck? Pick one goddamn thing and I'll show up. Like, you can't have me for 49 weekends. It's like, well, that's just how it is. And you're in the wedding party, so you have to go. And I'm like, but why? If you can't explain to me why I need to participate in something, I am just like, what the fuck? But it's mostly like external, like another, like expectations, I guess.
Yeah. It's funny because like on one hand, I just shut up and do what I'm told. But that's always when it comes to work only.
That's true, hey?
Like, it's like, be a good soldier. You show up, you do it, you go home, you know. Because I think it was the money thing, though.
Yeah.
Where if somebody said, hey, don't dye your hair blue, I would have been like, but why though?
Right. Exactly.
Like, give me a good reason. Well, it looks stupid. That's just your opinion, you know? So when I think about it, I'm very like, they always called me a walking contradiction.
I was going to say, there's that walking contradiction again.
But I need a shirt that says that, walking contradiction. Yeah. But I don't know. And I think that's why I just walk this middle ground, and they had to tip me in the right direction, or I just would have kept. I'm a fence sitter. Like, let's be honest. If somebody was like, gun to your head, you have to like break the tie here, I'd probably just be like, oh, just shoot me. You know, like, don't put it on me. Like, you guys do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean? Like, yes. I'm surprised I have no Libra in my chart. Mm-hmm. You know, because I can see both sides all the time.
Right.
Like, it was very interesting working for the police, because sometimes, you know, I was like, but was he that wrong, this bad guy?
That reminds me of what I said when I was reading your gifts. Like, you see like people's truth.
Yeah.
And truth can be really subjective. My truth is different than their truth, the police versus the, you know, victim or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, like, of course you'd be able to see all of it. Yeah. And like, you don't really, like, in your natural state, you don't really pass judgment on it. That's what I remember reading. No. It's like, you see it all for what it is, and you're very like, live and let live. Fuck it.
I'm like, well, you know what? But to be fair, I see where the dude's coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, for sure.
Yeah, it's wrong, but I don't think it's that wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
In this particular scenario. You know what
exactly. I feel like for me, the hardest thing was like, I've always questioned everything, but like from way too young. Well, why, Mom? Why, Mom? What should I do, Mom? Oh, like that, Mom. Blah, blah, blah. Like,
questioning too much.
Right? Just kidding. So I've always, and that was kind of how it was. Like, I think I was too like enthusiastic and too curious and too whatever. So I learned like pretty young to like flip it inward. So I had all of these questions in my head, and like a closet rebel, like didn't want to participate in this and didn't want to participate that. And I couldn't understand why. And then having to learn to like come out of the shadows and like speak up. It's not been really that easy.
Yeah.
I told you when I got here, I was like, I feel like I see so much going on. I need to say something, but like, there's a fine line. Like, what do you say that doesn't off-put everyone, that also doesn't create fear, because that's the opposite of what we want to do. Like, I'm just like, I don't even know. Like, where do you start?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's just talking. How do you put it? Just a minute. I think it's just a matter of I feel like I said this in a reading somewhere. If you speak from your heart, you'll be surprised at the outcome. You know, like if you're like, oh, this will probably, you know, I don't want to offend anyone in my family, or I don't want to do this. You know, you might be surprised if you just speak your actual truth. Not a censored version of truth where I'm going to kind of dampen it down.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's so true. Actually.
Water it down a little bit. Because I'm guilty for that. I water things down.
Me too.
To, you know.
That's such a good piece of advice. I've gotten that a lot too lately. Like, if you just explain your truth. I just drooled.
I'm like, what was that?
I love it. Oh, wow. Hello, everyone.
Real life.
Yeah. So if you just explain yourself, because I'm really good at like starting to show up and speak my truth, and then someone's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And then I'll like backtrack and be like, oh, maybe I'll just sit down and maybe this isn't my place. But if you just explain yourself, like, man, that works wonders. Like, if you just show up from the heart and be like, this is what I really felt or really believed, and you can't take that away from me. But I have this other problem where I'm really enthusiastic about everything. Like, if you get me when I'm in a high vibe, I'm like, everything I do is like yelling, because I'm like, oh my God, like everything's so amazing. And some people don't like that intensity. Just the other day, I was talking to someone like, stop yelling at me. And I'm like, what? I'm just really excited. And they're like, I'm going to just walk away right now. And I was like, fuck, you're too boring for me anyway. Get out of here.
That was the other thing. If you speak your truth, and you know, don't censor yourself or water yourself down. If people react poorly to it, so what?
Mm-hmm. So true. And I feel like we're in this day and age right now where you can see that authenticity is everything. Like with TikTok and Reels and Instagram, like the people that have like the most fan base are like the people that just unapologetically showed up. Like, you know, that Hot Mess Express, like Pinky Patel or whatever.
Oh my God,
Like,
she's so funny. Oh my God.
Like, where she, you know,
Pinky splaining or whatever.
Pinky splaining, yes. If you guys don't know her, check her out.
Oh my God, she's hilarious.
She's so funny. This lady just decided to call up the internet and she's like, I don't care anymore. Like, fuck it. And she
wears this crown and has this little bedazzled tiny little microphone.
She is
so
God. Funny. And she just unapologetically showed up as herself. Or some of the favorite pages that I show up as, they don't censor themselves. They say what's up. They do what's up. They dance. They say shitty things. And they're like, have 500,000 to millions of followers. And it's because like the real you is what counts.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to like navigate through finding your gift and finding your niche, but it's going to be like, you're the only one doing what you're doing. It's probably how you'll know that it's you.
Yeah. I find like, well, I'll never get TikTok. I have no interest in it. But like, even if I wanted to do Instagram, what are they called? Reels or whatever. Yeah. Like, I'm not technologically inclined. Like, I have all these ideas that are like, you know, it'd be funny if we did, you know, and I don't know how to do it. So I just don't.
It costs like you need a lot of time. Like one day when we're rich and fancy, I'm definitely going to hire someone, probably not to do reels, but to just like do my media, because like, fuck, it's a pain in the ass to get like the vision that you have to like the production that you want.
Oh,
like,
I know.
It's like a 3-hour process. And I'm like kudos to everybody out there who does that, because I'm vastly entertained by the content that you put out there. I love it. But like, what the fuck? Where do you find time for this?
Well, I know. And I'm so busy fucking treading water right now that I'm just like,
I know. How do we fix that?
Ugh.
Like for both of us.
I feel like it's changing though.
I know.
Do you feel a shift? Because I feel a shift. First of all, you know what? I meant to say this at the beginning of the fucking episode. Can we just give a shout out to all our new Patreons?
I love you guys so much.
Oh my God, you guys are amazing. We had Alexa, Danielle, Catrice. Oh my God, who else? I'm forgetting. And I'm just like,
I know. I can't remember. You're the person that's answered all the emails. I'm just been like a little bit
And
behind.
I was just messaging her this morning and like the name went right. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. This is so embarrassing. But this is what I mean. My brain's... Kate, has your brain been glitching out?
Oh yeah. It's been glitching out for
like the past month. Shelby. It's Shelby.
Oh yes. Fuck yeah. How could you forget Shelby?
I don't know. I'm so stupid. Hi, Shelby. Shout out to Shelby, and Catrice and, you know, all of our Patreons.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Shelby, of course. Duh. How did I forget that? But I'm just, my brain, it's like I don't know how to say it other than it glitches. Like I lose little chunks of things.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It seemed like the closer I get to the equinox, the more my words go and I glitch out.
I feel like it's because you're like stepping into all your little timelines. You're like, which one's for me? And then it's like, but when you timeline jump too, it's like you get a new experience. So sometimes your memories get altered, or like your understanding of what happened over the last couple of days has changed because like you flipped a timeline.
Yeah. Like today feels way different than the rest of the week has.
Yeah.
I was like, I woke up in a different dimension this morning.
I felt really weird for the past like 3 or 4 days. Like I just went from like being kind of concerned and kind of nervous to being like, fuck it, it's gonna be great. I'm like not concerned even in the slightest anymore about anything.
Me neither. I'm like, it is what it is. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
Totally.
Just make your borscht. You know, like that's, you know, mind your business.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I'm just not worried anymore. But yeah, it's been weird. I've definitely felt the shift. And yeah, the brain glitches. Like I'll just be like I can't remember things really well anymore.
Me neither. And it'll be like things like from this week, and I'm going, wow. And it's like it's right there, but it's so fuzzy, and you just can't quite grab it. You know? And I've just been glitching like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Like,
same.
It's a timeline glitch, though. I wasn't MK Ultra'd, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of that.
Oh God, here we go.
I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, but this is one of those things. And like, I'm sorry, I just like love everybody. And I swear to God, I'm not judging, but like, I don't understand why people don't ask these questions. Like, I'm just going to be honest, right? Your honesty.
Mm-hmm.
So there's these two counter narratives right now that are like, you know, the government and, you know, business and things like this, like, healthcare, there we go, healthcare, like they really care about us right now. They would never do these horrible things to us. I believe that. But like to dismiss that this hasn't happened before in history.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck? You guys need to, like, MK Ultra is a huge one. The eugenics project is a huge one. And then like the trials of Nuremberg, like they just, I'm just like, I'm not taking a stance anyway right now. I'm just saying, if you are one of the extreme people yelling at everyone who's questioning something, just leave them alone, because they're probably fearful, because history has told us that not always should we just blindly put our faith into everything.
No. Blindly put your faith in yourself.
Yes.
Like, but you know what? I don't trust the medical system.
Oh yeah, me neither.
But I never have.
Yes.
Because it's so funny. I will discuss with people like their experiences versus mine with the Western medical system. And I'm like, we went to the same place. We saw the same doctor.
Yeah.
Like, how is mine so like, and it doesn't matter what doctor except for one. I've only had one good doctor. And I think
it's not like the people on the ground. It's not the doctors. It's not the nurses. It's like the top filtering everything down. It's like the one or three bad eggs at the top that pollute the information that comes down.
But I'm like I've had really bad experiences with doctors themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, trying to get information. I've been told to go Google things. Oh, fuck. And I'm like, when has a doctor ever fucking said that to anybody?
Yeah.
You know, you go in and be like, I Googled this. And they'll be like, what are you doing? Yeah, you're not a doctor, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then to tell you, like, and that's a small snippet. I remember the first bad experience I had. I was like 14 or 15. And my period was really, really irregular. And I was doing these shows. And, you know, we had to wear like dance costumes, mm-hmm. which are not like super revealing, but they're revealing enough, mm-hmm. you know? And I was like, look, I'm doing these shows. I need to know when my period is. You know, my costume is a light colored costume. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to just surprise on stage kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he proceeded to give me a lecture about sex before marriage. And, you know, I was like, that's not what I came here for. I told you, like, but he, again, and this is a trend that I'm trying to get over still. People don't believe me. Like, they don't believe I have my own mind. They don't believe I have my own reasons. And I'm trying to pinpoint, where does that come from? Because this is not the first time. It's not just with, you know, the medical. It's like, it's with my own friends. It's with my own family. It's like, nobody believes my own mind. So I'm trying to pinpoint Kay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, and I feel like that's kind of holding me back in my business to a degree too. Cause it's like, well, what part do I, like, is there something I need to shift, you know, that makes me come across as like, I don't know what I'm talking about?
I feel like you come across like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, but people just don't listen. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like...
Yeah. You know what I had to learn about people not listening to me? Is that you attract people who treat you like you treated them in a past life. And I was like a snobby, like, I was the leader, I was the queen, and I was like, I probably treated a lot of people like, I don't have time for you, and I don't have time for this, and shut the fuck up. And then now a lot of people treat me that way, like, or they did, but you only have to eat your karma long enough to recognize it, and then just be like, all right.
But knowing my backstory, like, people should be listening to me then.
Okay, wait, let me think about this. If you're applicable, okay, people don't believe you.
Because I feel like you would have locked away for my shit.
Yeah, but what would have happened is that people would have maybe tried to give you advice or coach you through things or told you what was coming, and you'd be like, I don't believe you. Or like maybe you didn't listen to people either.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
But that applies to everybody. You'll attract people in your life that treat you like you treated them. And
or maybe it's just
I gotta hard to hear that. But.
Yeah. Maybe I just have to get, like, this is my, because they kept locking me away in every single fucking lifetime. Or they killed me. Those are the two. But maybe this is I have to find a way to break it. Like, I feel like this is the lifetime where I'm supposed to break that cycle.
Right, exactly.
But that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what should I shift?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to figure out.
It is hard to figure out. But I'm bound and determined. I'm going to do it.
Yes, I agree.
I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah. And then I guess just on that note, because I don't want anyone to like leave with a sour taste in their mouth, but like, yeah, when we say like have a truth to yourself, that's super important because we talked about at the beginning that like what we collectively agree on is what ends up manifesting in our timelines. Oh, yeah. So it's like your like energy and focus on things like shapes the experience. So it's like it's really subjective to you, but like you have to know what that is, which is why you should be curious on both ends of everything. Like I'm literally just saying like, fuck, just like think.
Mm-hmm. And question yourself. That was if I were to pick a game changer in my life, that was it. Okay. I didn't question the world. I started questioning myself. Why do I feel that way? Where does that come from? Why do I like that? Do I like that? Or am I told I like that? What do I feel about this? And like going down my own fucking rabbit hole, that was the game changer for me.
I feel like, I mean, maybe I have more to learn, but I feel like mine's like the opposite. Like I feel like I've been pretty like I'm pretty connected to myself, and I usually have been pretty understanding of my motives for the most part. But it's like, why are you telling me to do that? Why do I have to do this? Like even like the things I suck at, like with my family, it's like I've always hated showing up for them, but I do it anyway. But like it's just like I don't know. I just not all my family. Alyssa's cool. But yeah, I don't know. I've always been pretty like I feel like I've always been connected to myself, and like I am grateful for that. And I've always known what I've loved and liked and showed up for, but it's like the issue was I felt never really accepted for that. And then everything I loved or I wanted was too much or too big or too crazy, or I was too excited about stupid shit. So I've learned to like tame my enthusiasm and just assume that the world can't handle what I am or what I have to showcase. And then it's like I like dimmed down a little bit. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I'll just go to university, I'll just study this, and I'll just go here and I'll just be that because that's what's acceptable. Yes. Even though I knew it was like not aligned.
Yeah. Well, I tied myself down. I bought my first house at 19.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, because that's what you do.
Right.
You know?
And it's crazy like what we absorb from our family and society.
Yeah.
And like asking that, like, why do I feel this way? Or why do I behave in this way that I'm expected to be if I know I hate it? Like,
well, yeah, like, but I mean, I didn't even understand the concept of happiness. Like if I remember being truly, truly happy, like I was maybe 5. That's 35 years of unhappiness. Whoa. Because you just thought, well, that's what it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's undoing all that, which is cool. Like I find that like, yeah, sure, 35 years, like I wasted time, but did I though? Not really. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm all like, this is cool. And now I'm like diving deep and I'm like, ooh, what about this? Ooh, what about that? Ooh, and this is what I do with other people.
Exactly.
You know, so it's like my favorite fucking thing.
Yes. And that's another part of like getting out of your shadows and getting out of your, you know, bullshit and showing up for yourself is like you will often, again, you attract what you are or what you were. So like you'll often attract clients and people that need help with like what you needed help with before. Yeah. Right? Like you are the guru that would have helped younger you through that shit. That's 100% what I'm doing now.
Totally.
Like telling people it's okay to like dream bigger and go for your shit, and that like you got to just go through it.
I'm just like
rise above.
I'm just like, just let yourself be weird.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You're a square peg. You don't have to fit in a round hole.
Exactly. And like, I don't know. I just needed someone to like snap me out of it. Like I just like gave up on myself. I knew I didn't want this. I knew I wanted more. I knew I wanted deeper. And it's just like, I just was like, well, I'm from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, and I grew up in a school that had 3 people in my class.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what are the odds of little old me being able to like ever accomplish or be anything? And it wasn't like because I wanted to be something. I just wanted to like, I feel like I just want to like experience the depths of life. Like, I want the highs, I want the freedom, I want the experience. But like, you eventually just feel like you can't, and you just sit in your shit. And I just needed someone to be like, no, like anything that you can dream, you can do.
Yeah. I always said I would have been a great trophy wife.
I'm pretty sure I was a drunk housewife once.
Nice.
And I think it was fun. I think I wasted a lot of time, but I feel like it would be fun.
I can totally see you as a drunk housewife. I can with like the nanny for the kids. You know, yeah.
If I was even selfless enough to have children in those past lives.
No. I totally picture it. Like the kids are off with their tennis lessons, and you're just like, have fun, yeah, and then take another drink at the pool. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh fuck, yeah. I would do that. That's my karma.
Oh my god, it's
getting a little carried away with the good things in life.
I love it.
So I still crave those things, but this time I have to work really hard for it and earn it in a way that helps humanity, instead of only myself.
You can do it.
Oh yeah.
Look, this long convoluted nothing. Like, I just feel like we're just rambling today. Mm-hmm. But the gist of it all is just be yourself, right? Like, just come out of the shadows.
Because your gifts lie there.
Like you're hurting no one but yourself.
Yeah.
And really, now, Kayla's the karma girl. But, I mean, like, how am I going to put this? I just felt like a total teenager there. I mean, like, you know, so just side note, you know what I used to say all the time when I was like a preteen?
What?
I don't know. It always came up. Nah, just kidding. I'm sure.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, like, but how quintessentially 80s or early 90s really was that? Nah, just kidding. I'm sure.
Oh fuck yeah.
Now I forgot completely what I was saying because I got distracted by that.
Last thing you said was Kayla's the karma girl. But I don't remember I don't know where we're going.
Oh, basically, what I was trying to get at in a very backwards way was hiding your gifts is fucking you up long term with your karma. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, if there's something that you're interested in, and say it with me, kids, fuck expectation. You know, it's not worth it.
No. And like, we are coming into this new cycle where we've talked about it before, but there's like no more excuses. We're grasping at straws here, and the universe is like, you don't have that much time like to fuck around anymore. You should be healing these things. You should be stepping into your gifts. And it's like, we are moving into the age of Aquarius, and things are different and are going to be different. We are never going to go back to the way that things were.
No.
That way of life is done. And you might as well be ahead of the curve.
True.
You might as well figure it out now. Get curious. What was something you were interested in when you were a child? What is a gift that you want to develop?
What is something that you've always... going back to the tarot thing.
Mm-hmm.
What is something that maybe your whole life you're like, I wonder if I could do that?
Right?
Because I would, like, my mom and I would go get tarot readings and stuff, and I'm like, I feel like I could do that. But I kept waiting for somebody to tell me that was my gift.
Mm-hmm.
And now, being a reader, I'm like, oh, fuck, of course they're not going to tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Except when I get things about people, I do tell you, because I'm a nice reader. I tell you, if your gift comes in, I'm like, why are you doing this?
Oh,
you know?
for sure.
But that's usually through channeled messages.
Yeah, I've made a whole job about telling people how amazing they are and need to get their shit together.
But it's like, what was that you were like, I feel like I could do that? Or I wonder if that's me. Because you kind of have this longing of, I really, really want to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's probably because you can. Yep.
I remember, let's remind me of something. So I went to my first hypnotherapy appointment with Hypnotherapy by Christine.ca. Check her out. She is the best.
I like how you're like, .ca.
Check her out. And I went...
Is that Christine with a K or a C?
A K.
Okay.
So went to my appointment with her, and I was talking about, what the fuck was I talking about? I had a weird dream, and my grandma used to see aliens, and she like looked at me, she's like, do you think you're a starseed? And I was like, I don't exactly know what that means, but as soon as she said it, I was like, I know what she's talking about. And I was like, fuck, I wish. I remember being like, I wish. And then lo and behold, later on in the session, I was like, oh Lord. But I wasn't convinced of it at the time. You know, it's like way too much to process. I like went home and thought about it for a while, and I was like, that was weird. Anyway, I ended up being able to prove some things to myself. But it's like, God, the things that you long for are like the codes to your life. Because I never necessarily was like, I wish I could read tarot. I never said that.
No.
I mean, now it's a handy tool in the back pocket, but I'm not like, oh, I love this.
Yeah.
So like those things that like pull your interest or you're curious about, those are like big indicators.
Yes. Very much so.
Get curious.
Yeah. And explore. And you know what? Try things. Caveat to that is you do have to have a certain amount of self-awareness and blind faith in yourself. Because, like, here's the thing. Sometimes I talk to ghosts and it's like, I'm a crazy person. I'm not a crazy person. But, like, even me, I'm like, bitch, you ain't talking to ghosts. Shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times I'm like, oh, well, I'm so talking to a ghost right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're, you know, like it's,
yeah.
You know, if you don't have that blind faith in yourself, you're going to go, well, this is stupid. And you're going to shut yourself down before you even start.
And just because you start, like, let's say, for example, I don't even know, you start with tarot. And you're like, okay, I'm kind of flowing with this. I'm kind of ebbing. It's probably going to open a door to another avenue that probably is your avenue.
Yeah.
It's like, they're like stepping stones to where you need to go. But like, if you never open your mind to it, if you never begin to explore, if you never push through your limiting beliefs and show up anyway, then it's like, you're never going to figure it out. Like if you're expecting like your angels and guides to come, ding dong, we're here. Here's your gifts.
Ava, I'm calling.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, I'm activated. I'm getting downloads. It doesn't work like that at all.
I wish.
It's a super like the whole process, I swear to fuck, starts with you asking questions and getting a little curious.
Or just playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Never in a million years. If you would have told me back in the day that I was going to be 40 and a channeler, I would have been like, yeah, go fuck off.
Oh, yeah.
Like, see that bridge? You go jump off of it. Like, you're full of shit.
If someone ever would have been like, you're going to read Akashic Records professionally, I'd been like, huh? What the fuck are the Akashic Records?
The Akashic?
I'd have been like, what are you talking about? Like,
oh my God, I'm going to get you a shirt that says Akashic Records on it.
Just making up a word.
Oh my God, I love it. It's like, have you seen that meme where the guy's like, because Mercury's in lemonade or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh my God, that's the best.
Oh, I love those, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Oh, God.
Akashic Records.
Yeah, but like, okay, thanks, buddy. Have a good day.
Contact Kayla if you need your Akashic Records done.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
And I think that that's the story of every person that ever accomplishes something. Like, if you look at, like, famous musicians or movie stars or, I don't even know, like, musicians and things like that. Did I say that already?
You did, but that's okay.
Like, what the fuck? I can't think of anything else that's famous. So anyway, you ask them how they did it, and it's always that they just had such a blind passion for something and they just kept going and did something about it and didn't take no for an answer.
Or they just were like, you know what? I liked it. It was fun. So I did it.
Yeah. And I never stopped doing it because it was really my soul coming out and speaking and showing up. And then it's like, those are always the people that make it. Like,
yeah.
It's always the same story. You just show up anyway. And you lead through your passion though. That's one thing. Like or not your passion, but what you actually enjoy. There's a lot of people now coming out of the woodworks that just like want the rewards or the reputation without doing any of the work. It's not about the channeling. It's not about the tarot. They just want to be something. And those people aren't going to get anywhere. So
no. Well, they might to start, but it won't last.
Yeah. And you attract what you are. So if you're just a shell of a person showing up, wanting to be famous or influential, you're just going to attract empty
vessels,
people, and it's not going to be that transformational work that should be there, or we work on, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and if you're out I find if you're out for yourself, like, you're not going to have that rapport. Like, when we do this podcast, like, I know I've said this before, like, we feel your guys' energy. Like, it's like, yeah, these are my peeps. Like, these are my people right now.
Yeah. It feels like you're all here.
And I'm just like, I can't, but maybe that's just who I am though. Like, I can't imagine just doing this.
To hear ourselves talk.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
I'm just
and I think there are people out there that do that.
I'm sure there is.
It's kind of weird to me because, like, I sometimes don't even listen to the podcast because I'm like, oh, cringe.
I used to be like that, but now I listen to us and I don't even think we're us.
Yeah, that's true. I, like, Randy encouraged me. She's like, you should just listen to it. You should just listen to it. I'm like, oh, fuck. But I have. And
but then I listen to it and I'm like, huh, we sound like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Actually, someone just the other day, Nicole. What's up, Nicole?
Hey, Nicole.
She messaged me and she's like, oh my God, your podcast last week was so bang on. I started, like, getting these like little drop down clues. And then next thing I knew, that's what you guys were talking about. And I was like, fucking right. It's like,
oh yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. I feel like that's all we're here to do is just, like, open that little box in your mind, and then you guys get to just, like, dive into it, or just remind you to think about those things. I don't want to say open it. I want to say just, like, put the probing question out there, or whatever it is, and then it's just, like, all the information floods in.
Totally.
Because obviously we just channel this. Like, we never have a plan.
Never. No.
I have no idea.
And the only times we have had a plan, it always goes sideways anyway, so we don't even bother.
No. Don't even bother. I know we pulled a couple cards today, and it's like we talked about them, but not at all in the way that I expected us to.
No, not at all. I don't even remember what they were. But anyway, it's you know what? One of my favorite, like, I just love the little community that we've built here. And if you guys ever join us on Patreon, like, when we have our little group chats over there, our little Zoom calls, and we do our little rituals, or we just chat, like our last one where we just hung out, I'm just high vibing after that for, like,
I know, and
2 days.
And I'm seriously saying this isn't like a push to make everybody sign up for Patreon.
No.
But, like, I have a hard time. This is also one of my shadows, that, like, me being responsible and, like, hardworking and, like, showing up is how I contribute to my family, my community. And, like, there's not a lot of room for, like, so responsibility and showing up to me don't go hand in hand with fun. I rarely ever have, like, a bunch of fun while I'm doing, like, work related things. But, like, that is just pure soul fun. And I seriously leave, like, with the most full cup of all time.
Me too.
And if you know me, I hate schedules and appointments. I'm like, oh, I've got to be somewhere by 7. Fuck. And it's like, I'm, like, ready for it. I'm like, fuck yes, I can't wait for this. Like, it's awesome.
I'm like, oh, tonight's the night. Sweet.
And, like, there are very few things in my life that I'm that excited about when it comes to, like, expectations or how I thought I needed to show up or whatever.
Yeah. That's how I am in the evenings. I'm like, oh, I'm too fucking tired. Except for those, I'm like, oh, yay. I'm so excited, you know.
I know.
Because I'm a little nerd.
Oh, it's so fun. I love it. Thank you guys so much for being on there, because it literally makes my day.
Yes. And your guys' little messages when you message us, it's the greatest. And I'm so, and I apologize because I'm really bad at, like, responding, but I'm just like, oh, you guys are the best.
I'm getting better. I'm coming out of this weird, like, I think I said it in the last episode where I feel like, I don't even know, maybe I didn't say it. I feel like I've been in transition for a while, like, going from the caterpillar, slow, doesn't know what they're doing. They go in their cocoon forever and, like, disintegrate into mush. And that was my summer. And now, like, the cocoon is, like, splitting open. And I'm like, I have to get out of this thing and, like, go out to the world now. But I've taken, like, I've just been like, oh, I just want to stay in the comfort of this place a little bit longer. And I feel like I was in this, like, recluse type of place. And I, like, couldn't bother with certain, well, not bother. I was, like, drowning and stuff, but I couldn't keep up. And now I feel more, like, on top of it. I'm, like, stepping out. Like, all right, let's do this.
And now I feel like I just want a break. Oh, my God. I haven't had a day off in, like, over a month and a half.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I
need to cocoon, I think.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I did that at the beginning because I felt like, well, I'm not saying it's the beginning, but, like, I just for me, expectations, right? I'm like, I have to show up for people. I have to be responsible. I have to make this many appointments. I have to accommodate other people. I have to show up. This has to be out by this time. And like, I burnt myself out really bad, like really bad. And like nobody, like, it's like if the quality of your readings goes away. And like, I don't know. So now I'm just like faking it till I make it. Like, I don't necessarily believe that this is, I'm like, it's cringeworthy to me, but I'm like, I have to just go with how it shows up and like take time for myself because I don't want to hate this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like you are like, I feel like I am a textbook overworker, but like you are next level. I've never met anyone who works as hard as you.
And this isn't nearly as bad as I used to be.
Yeah.
Like I used to work 12-hour shifts and go work another 2-3 hours.
I know. I used to work at my job at like 8 to 4, and then I'd go serve tables from like 4 till 12 or sometimes 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But like, yeah, you just work so hard.
But this is also my conditioning though.
I know. I feel like I remember channeling to you once that you have to learn to have more fun.
Mm-hmm. That's one of my lessons this time around. And that actually, my guides like hit me over the head with that again. Was it yesterday or the day before? I was sitting there and I wasn't even like, I was drinking my coffee in the morning. I wasn't meditating. I was just being present. And they were like, have some fun today. And I was like, how? That was like the first thing that came to my mind was, how? If you need to ask how to have fun, like there's an issue there.
I know. Sometimes I get like that too. It's like I do know what I like to do for fun. That's like bigger stuff. You know, like I know I like to go to concerts. I know I like to listen to music. I know but it's like, what do you do to like schedule time for like fun? And I'm like, oh, me and my inner child have to get together. Like, fuck. But I just don't want to. And then I can hear my inner child being like, that's the problem. You should want to hang out with me. And I'm like, no.
I just played with some rocks.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. It's like, what do? I talk to rocks.
I know. I was trying to think. I'm like, what did I do as a kid? I was like, the things I remember liking the most is I had a tree. I just like to like sit in it and like crawl in it. I just like being outside. So I try to do that every day. And then I did like reading.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think I need to read like childhood books though, instead of complicated.
I've been reading a lot of like easy, like quick read, like cozy mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I should read some of those.
Like those are the kind of shit I like to read when I was like preteen, teenager, you know? Mm-hmm. So they're more adult themed, but that's what I've been reading because they're easy and they're floofy and they're, you know?
Yeah, totally.
I want to go for a bike ride more, but I just haven't had the time, to be quite honest.
I'm so like adamant that I'm not fucking around anymore. I was like, I'm not saying yes to things I don't want to do. I'm going to hold my boundaries. If I feel really tired in the morning, I'm going to sleep in. If I feel like I need the morning to myself, like I just want to like honor myself in the moment. And it's like, it sounds so simple, but I've like never done that.
You know what? Because I'm so used to it not being super busy at the clinic, mm-hmm. You know? Well, I'm booked. Like I'm booked fucking solid. Yeah. And so I was like, and I took that massage course, that Thai massage course. So I'm like, oh yeah. And like that week was bang, 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 back to back to back to back.
Yeah, fuck, you sure have a lot of like extracurricular things happening.
And then I was like, that's okay, because things won't be crazy when I get back. I'll have time to like practice and like catch up on my readings. No. Like I am booked, like booked. And I'm just like, oh.
I know.
I mean, that's good.
It is good.
But at the same time, I'm like, oh.
I know. I think and you know what the shittiest part about having a business is everything is a learning experience.
Yeah.
So like, I think to myself, and I've like thought this for a while, I was like, hey, Kayla, you used to be able to do like 27 readings in a day. I don't know why or how I got through that. But like now it's like the quality of my readings have gone way up. Mm-hmm. But like, I can only then crash out like 2 and feel like mentally sound to do that. But I still am booking like 4 a day. Like, yeah. Of course I can't keep up. And it's like, you got to tweak it. But it's like, oh, like.
Well, I'm trying to transition away from working at the clinic so much.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, it'll be fine. I'll just, drop a couple days. No, what day am I going to drop?
I know.
Like I'm booked solid, like a couple weeks ahead.
I know. This is one of those things, again, every time I have to make like a tweak to my business, I'm like, I really don't want to do this. It scares me. People are going to be like, what the fuck? But every time I do it, it always leads to better things.
Mm-hmm. But I used to work Saturdays.
Right.
So I've dropped them to half days now.
But you're still working on Saturday?
For now. I'm transitioning out of them.
Right. So how many days are you at the clinic?
3.5. Well, no, 3, because 2 are half days. Because Thursdays we record.
Right.
Right? So it's full days Wednesdays and Fridays, half day Thursday, and now half day Saturday. It used to be full days.
Okay, that's reasonable.
But then Tuesdays, of course, are my coaching days at home.
Right.
But that's still a normal 5-day work week.
Yeah. I try to block Fridays off because I used to I want to do that for like my admin days and email days. And if I'm going to create a course, I can go create a course. But
that's
now,
my Monday.
But now it's turned into the overflow days.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I don't get done from Monday to Friday, I do it Monday to Thursday, I have to do it on Friday. And then I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. Fuck you guys. Having your own business is cool, but it's also like so stressful.
You know what? I don't find it that stressful. What I do find is like I need to set some hard boundaries with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will work till I die.
Yeah, same. But I've really stepped away from that because it's not good for anybody. What did my guides say to me? They were like, you need to practice what you preach. Like the only goal and objective I have for my clients is to get you out of the things that suck the soul out of you and get you into this place of freedom and following your dreams. I don't say it that way, but it's and waking up to what your potential is.
Yeah.
And standing in that. And then it's well, what the fuck am I doing? But I'm killing my gifts and my spirit by overworking. And I'm like, oh.
But my problem is I get kind of addicted because I the more I work, the more intense my sessions get and the cooler the shit that comes out. Mm-hmm. So I'm like,
yeah, that's true.
Oh, what's gonna come out now? So I get this weird, it's kind of like an addiction. Mm-hmm. Where I'm like, oh man, I don't want this to go. And it probably won't. Let's be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm just like, no, I'm getting such good stuff. I don't want to stop. And when I hear it out loud, I'm like, you're being ludicrous. Luda!
Oh my God. Yeah. It's not easy to balance. Okay. You know what happens though? You create this new level of balance for yourself. And so karma is all about the more you honor yourself, the better your karma gets. So every time I do something to honor myself, I'm like, I'm going to set better boundaries. I just get busier, which is great. Mm-hmm. But then you have to create these new boundaries because you have new problems. And it's been an ongoing process for literally 2 years. And I'm like, when am I going to really figure it out?
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
Anyway, what the fuck are we talking about?
I don't know. But we've been talking over an hour, these poor children.
I know. I think there was good gems in there.
I think so. But basically it's you know what? Jump down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
Follow your bliss.
Yes. Just creepy over here. Yes. And it's just I know you guys have heard us talk about this stuff before, but I have been getting weird messages lately. Like I said, that it's we have to look at things differently than we've ever looked at them before because we're living in a world that's different than it's ever been.
Yeah, it's unprecedented.
It's unprecedented. So it's strange times require strange measures, require strange people to do strange things. We just need to rise, and our fear is holding us back. Our worry about what people will think about us or say about us. And it's there is nothing but evidence out there right now that says when you stand in your truth, it pays off. And I'm just saying, look at TikTok. There's fucking weirdos on there doing weird shit all the time. And
people are strange.
People love it. My favorite people are the ones doing the most honest, authentic shit. And then even just the whistleblowers coming out are finally gaining traction. Fuck our Aaron O'Toole for the Conservative Party posted something that was insane today. And I was like, all right, fucking
What?
Get out of the shadows. It's just and it's just time to do things differently and look at things differently. And I just
let your freak flag fly.
Yeah, can't stress enough.
People are strange.
Yeah.
Everybody's strange to somebody.
Oh, yeah.
So fuck it.
Exactly.
But anyway, the gist was just to stop hiding. Don't be a lurker.
Yeah, stop lurking.
That reminds me of that Friends episode where Phoebe was like, she had that lurker when they were at the casino.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, don't be that girl. Don't be that lady. Don't be the old lady like lurking people's machines. Like, just go do your own thing.
Be Phoebe. Like, fuck, she's a weirdo.
Yeah. 100%. Anyway, we've made our point, I think.
Yeah.
So, thanks for listening.
Exactly.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to our TED Talk.
Yeah, and let us know if there's some other things you want us to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys, we always like suggestions.
Yes. Please. More suggestions, the better, because then we'll have like a bit of a jumping off point. Totally. And we don't know like what people are going through right now, what people want to hear more about.
Mm-hmm. You got a topic you want us to talk about? Send it to us. We love that shit.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
All right. Thanks for listening. Peace out, kids.
Bye.